podcast family. Welcome to Wednesday. I'm so excited for this episode today. If you are new to the podcast Pocket Full of Sunshine, thank you for tuning in today. I started this podcast about a year and a half ago. Actually, wow, it hasn't even been a year. May will be a year. So let me just backtrack. It's been almost a year. Started this podcast in memory of my daughter Hayden, just to kind of put my trauma out there, not just from Hayden's death and everything that we're going through with that, but also from my childhood trauma to just all the things that I've been through my life that have played a part in who I am today and why I'm here on this podcast with you all, just trying to share my story and let you know that you're not alone in this trauma, whatever it is that you're going through or dealing with, that there is a support system here, a family here, which is why I always welcome you guys as hello podcast family, because that's what I want to build here, a community and a family and a safe place for us to be able to come and just feel like our trauma is valid, our feelings are valid, the things we're going through are real life and valid, and there are people here that understand it and want to help us get through it. So today's episode is going to be a good one, guys. I was watching, trying to find a movie to watch with my kids a couple of weeks ago, and we came across the Pink Panther movie, okay? So if you grew up in the 90s like I did, Pink Panther was a cartoon, right? And there wasn't a lot of audio in it. It was mostly just, watching it, whatever. It's pretty funny. I loved Pink Panther. My dad used to watch Pink Panther. So I was like, you know what? I was telling my kids, like, I used to watch that when I was a kid, but there was a cartoon of it, this and that. So I was like, let me pull one up on YouTube and show it to you. So we ended up watching the Pink of the Litter episode on YouTube that day. So if you have not checked out the Pink Panther cartoon, I want you to do that. And I want you to go to YouTube and I want you to check out the Pink of the Litter, because that's what this episode stems from today. So as we're watching it, and you'll notice my whole little cute little outfit. I got the little hat, got my little earrings, I got my shirt. I even have the socks to match, guys. I'm like pinked out today, okay? So, I'm just feeling it. But anyway, got all this off Temu. So I love Temu. I always get I bargain shop, right? I'm on a 6-kid budget. So anything that I get for myself has to be under $10 or I'm not buying it. So anyway, Temu for the win. So I'm watching this episode of Pink Panther and he throws this banana peel, right? Eats the banana, throws the peel, and it lands right on the officer's head. And immediately goes straight to the judge. Okay, so everybody knows, like, littering's illegal. Like, we don't do it. The kids and I clean up trash all the time up and down the road. Like, we always do our civil duty. But the more I watched this episode, the more it started relating to me, not as litter, but as real life stuff. Like, what's the trash that we carry around every single day in our life, right? And so in this episode, Pink Panther continues to go through the movie. His punishment is cleaning up the town in this little episode. So he's going through cleaning up all the trash, and then he keeps trying to find the quickest way to get rid of this trash, right? And every time he goes to dump this trash somewhere, here's the little police like, no, you can't do that here. You got to take it somewhere else. And so he has to clean it up again and he has to move it somewhere else. And then he tries to hide it. And so it's always about him trying to get rid of this trash the quickest way that he can. And so I really started thinking about that. And I'm like, don't we really do that in real life? Like, all the stuff that we deal with every day on a daily basis, like, when we're finally sick of it and done with it, we're like, okay, let me just get rid of this as fast as I can. Like, let me just put it over here, sweep it under the rug. I'm not going to think about it, not going to deal with it. It's out of sight, out of mind, so to speak. And then as Pink Panther does this through the episode, every single time it blows up even bigger and he's got a bigger mess to clean up. And that's what we do, which is why I'm here on this podcast, because I don't want us to do that anymore. I want us to be able to say, okay, this is my trash. Let me clean this up. It might take me a little bit longer, but let me figure out how to get rid of it permanently. I don't want to hide it. I don't want to sweep it under the rug. I don't want to stuff it in a spot that it's not supposed to be until I can't hold it there anymore and then it blows up in my face. No, that's not what I want us to do anymore. And so how do we do that? Because trust me, guys, like I still struggle with this every single day myself. Like there's so much stuff in life that I just want to be like, I'm not going to think about that right now. I don't want to deal with it. But when this stuff keeps coming up as thoughts, when this stuff keeps coming up as patterns, when this stuff keeps coming up as cycles, it's doing that because we're not disposing of it properly. We're not getting rid of it like we need to. So what can we do to make sure that we're getting rid of this stuff like we need to, right? What can we do to make sure that all of this stuff that we have that's just piling up and piling up and piling up, how do we make sure we get rid of it permanently? Properly. Therapy, I highly recommend it. If you don't have a therapist, 10 out of 10 recommend that you get one, because I truly believe everybody needs a therapist. If I didn't have my therapist, I would be going absolutely crazy. And that's not an exaggeration, okay? I wouldn't know which way was up or down. So I think one of the easiest ways that we can deal with trauma is to be able to recognize it, first of all, this trash. I called it trauma, but I'm going to call it trash because it doesn't necessarily have to be trauma, right? It can be a person that we're dealing with that we've continued to deal with for way too long. It can be something that we should have dealt with years ago and we haven't yet. It could be financially, like what are we doing that is continuing to cause us to be financially strained or struggle that we need to stop and get rid of. So there's lots of different things that can be considered our trash, right? And what we can do to make sure that these things stay gone like they need to is to deal with it. How do we dispose of it properly? One thing I love to do that really, really works for me and for my kids, they love to do this. Call me crazy, call me what you want, but it works for us, okay? So we love to journal. So we write down all of our stuff and we're like, anything that's bothering you. If it's a situation at school, you're dealing with somebody, mean friends, you're dealing with whatever. If you're struggling with being mean to somebody and you don't like the way that's making you feel, for me, it's trauma, childhood trauma, past, all this stuff. Write it down. And then we're going to take it outside once a month. Typically we do it on the full moon. We take this stuff outside and we burn it and we release it. And we're saying, like, take this away from us. We are letting this go. It no longer has a hold on us. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. It no longer has a hold on us. So that's something that really works for me and my kids. And then we're left with this little pile of ashes, right? But we're left with such a release, like a lifting release where we feel like, okay, this is no longer stuck to us because we just got rid of it. Like we burned it and now it's just ashes. And that can be disposed of properly. right? It's not like we're just pushing it down and dealing with it and not talking about it. My daughter Hayden was really bad with talking about things. She did not like to talk about things. She didn't want to talk about her emotions, her feelings, anything. My daughter Ashton is the same way. So writing it out and drawing it out and then burning it and releasing it is a huge, huge tool for them, because it allows them to even communication journals. Hayden and I had a communication journal for a very long time, and I just actually have recently ordered some for me and the rest of my kids, just because sometimes they're more comfortable writing things down to explain it to you or tell you about it than just speaking back and forth with you, right? And a lot of times when you read something that your kids have written to you, you have time to process it, to understand it, and to think about your response instead of just reacting off of emotions. So that's something that really works for us. I don't know that that's something that would work for everyone, but I feel like it's worth a try, right? So that's how we get rid of our trash. That's how we say, like, okay, enough is enough. Like, we're not dealing with this anymore. We've been sweeping this under the rug too long. We are now going to write all of this out, lay it out clear, plain, and get rid of it. Deal with it. And I feel like that's what Pink Panther was trying to figure out in that episode, because he kept going from place to place to place with this trash and just putting it there. He tried to shrink it down and make it so small, and then it still just blew up 10 times bigger. And as humans, that's our nature. We don't want to deal with things or dispose of it properly because it's hard. A lot of times that is hard work and it's uncomfortable. And sometimes we don't know how or where to even start. So I feel like this community is where we start. Podcast Pocketful of Sunshine, our Facebook page, our resources, just listening to other people share their stories. That's where we start, because that's where our power comes from. That's where we can take our power back from these things that we're dealing with and these things that we have to try to get rid of permanently, is by empowering each other, encouraging each other, and helping each other figure out what's going to work, what's really going to work. How can we really get rid of all of these things forever, permanently? Not to say that it's never going to come back up or it's never going to, resurface or whatever. But once we really deal with the issue and deal with it properly, if it does come back up, it's so minute that we don't even notice. Like, it doesn't even bother you anymore. You're like, oh, that again. I already dealt with that. That's been long gone. Like, it doesn't have a hold on me anymore. I can pick up that little piece and put it in the trash can. Like, it's just learning how to not suppress and instead learning how to properly deal with things and dispose of things and get rid of things so that they're not holding us back anymore. You guys really have to check out this episode. It is like so good. I literally watched it like 4 times because I'm like, there's no words in this episode. There's literally just the episode, the action, a few captions. Like the little officer like holds up these little signs like, nope, not there. Wrong spot. Oh, did it again. And it's like, I feel like in my own life in particular, because there are so many things I didn't deal with, especially relationship-wise, that now I look back at it and I'm like, that little officer was popping up every time. Like, Oh, look, you just did this again. Oh, look, same person, different body. Oh, look, pattern continues until you deal with this stuff and finally get rid of it. And then at the end, the Pink Panther does get rid of it, and they throw this huge party for him, and they have confetti and they have all this stuff, and the mayor gives him this key, and he has the key to the city, and he cleaned it all up, and they turn around and look behind them, and it's trashed again because of the confetti from the party. And then he's like, oh gosh, like now I have to start all over. But now the trash that you're looking at behind you is not the same pile of trash that you've been trying to clean up this whole time, because you got rid of that. Now this other trash behind you, like that's the trash that is left over from this celebration, from this new beginning. And it might not all be bad. That might be the trash behind you that is not really trash, but the leftover pieces of things that you're moving forward from, if that makes sense. So I believe everybody's not in your life permanently. Some people are in your life for a reason. Some are in there for a season. Some are in there for a lifetime, right? And so I feel like those pieces of that confetti that Pink Panther was looking at when he turned around and looked behind was like, those are the ones that were there. Those are the ones that were supporting me, helping me get to where I am right now. They were cheering me on. That's what's behind me now, not necessarily trash. Yes, it's pieces. Yes, I see them. Yes, it was part of this beautiful celebration. And we still have to make sure that it's tidy and neat, and that we clean it up and organize it, and you know what I'm saying? Like, make sure the street's clean. But this was from all of the people that were supporting me and loving me and pushing me forward. This is not that mountain of trash that just took me 30, how many ever years. For me, I'm going to say 30, but in the episode was 30 minutes. But to clean up, because I kept just pushing it down and sweeping it under and putting it here and putting it there and trying, oh, let me shove it in this corner. Let me shove it in that corner. Let me shove it deep, 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 deep down where I don't even have to think about it or feel it. So it really changed my perspective. It really made me look at my trauma and how I deal with it, how I relate to it, and everybody that has helped me and supported me through it, and those who have caused it. So it was a great episode, and I really, really want you guys to go check it out. Again, it's The Pink of the Litter, Pink Panther. I'm probably really dating myself right now, or aging myself by telling you guys about Pink Panther. But it was part of my childhood, and I really did love it, and I still love it. And there are some good lessons that you can sit back and learn in those old cartoons, those animated but non-verbal cartoons. Another one that I watched as a kid, Tom and Jerry, that didn't really have a lot of talking in it either. But now as an adult, as a kid, I watched it, didn't think anything of it. You're just laughing and, oh gosh, like, it's funny. As an adult, you go back and you watch these things, and some of them you're like, how is that even appropriate for children? But then some of them you're like, wow, like there's a whole lesson there that you don't realize or even pay attention to until you're grown and you've been through all this stuff. It's crazy to me how I watched it all these years and I never saw the message, right? Like it's almost like there's hidden messages in everything if we pay close enough attention. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe you can relate. Maybe you have some trash that you've been trying to push down and hide away and not deal with and things like that. And if that's the case, do something different this week. Write your trash out. Write down what it is. All the stuff that you've not dealt with because it's uncomfortable or it's scary or it's just too much. Write it out. Cry on every single page if you have to. But you're going to burn those tears with that paper. And you're going to release it and you're going to let it go. And it is the most freeing feeling, I promise you, just to let the stuff go. And if you're not into the whole like burning it out, writing it out, burning it up, whatever, that's fine. Just do something. You can write it out, rip it to shreds and throw it in the trash if that's what works for you. You don't even have to write it out. Pray it out. I mean, release it. Just release it. However you feel like you need to release this trash, clean this up, clean your soul, clean yourself. Just do it. There is no right or wrong answer here. When it comes to healing and dealing with our trauma, there is no right or wrong answer. Actually, I take that back. There is a wrong answer. The wrong answer is suppressing it, pushing it down, not dealing with it, trying to hide it, not cleaning it up like we need to. That's the wrong answer. The right answer is, no matter how scary it is, no matter how much it is, deal with it. One piece at a time. Because if you try to do it all at once, it's overwhelming, right? So just do one piece at a time. Make a list. I need to deal with this, 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 and this. Check it off as you go. You can always email me, podcastpocketfulofsunshine@gmail.com. I have tons of resources. I have whatever you need. Just send me an email and I will get it to you. I promise. And if I don't have the answer for you, then I'll tell you that too and we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together. Okay? Because I want you guys to know that you're not alone, that you have a family here, and that we're dealing with this stuff, man. We're doing the hard work. We're going to be better people for our kids, for ourselves, for our families. We're building greatness. I'm so excited to do this journey with you guys. And I thank you so much for tuning in with me every single week, for taking your time out, even though sometimes it's only 20 minutes, sometimes it's 45, sometimes I get winded and they're an hour. But you guys are loyal to me and you listen to me and you're helping me heal by allowing me to be a part of your healing journey and helping you. So I appreciate that so much. And I look forward to these episodes every single week for you all. If you ever want to be on the podcast with me, I would absolutely love that, because talking to myself every week gets a little bit like weird sometimes, but I don't mind it because I know sharing my trauma is what I'm supposed to be doing and what I need to be doing. And I have gotten some wonderful opportunities to speak and share my testimony and my faith and my story with others, and I appreciate that, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity that God has brought to me through this podcast and through all of you. I am going to start a support group online. It's going to be through Zoom. I am going to put a poll out and try to figure out the best dates and times that work for my listeners. I'm not sure yet what all of the details are going to entail, but there will be a poll coming out soon. There will be a link that you will get each week if you're interested in joining the support group. You will have to email me because this is not going to be an open forum. It's going to be private, public, confidential, safe, secure, all of the above. All of the above. So I want you to be a part of it, and I want you to know that you're not alone, and we are here to help you through this journey of life any way that we can. Again, podcastpocketfulofsunshine@gmail.com. I am on all of the platforms except for TikTok now. again at Podcast Pocket Full of Sunshine. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Go check out that Pink Panther episode, Pink of the Litter. And I will talk to you guys next week. I love you. Bye.